السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We continue inshallah ta'ala with Surah Yasin, and inshallah ta'ala we'll go through verses 77 to 80. Even though the verses to the end of the surah, they're all one subject about the evidences of, or some of the evidences of the Day of Judgment. But we'll just take from 77 to 80 and we'll continue inshallah ta'ala tomorrow. طيب, we'll start inshallah ta'ala with the recitation, verse number 77 in Surah Yasin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين. وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه. قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم. قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. أولم يرى الإنسان، that's إخفاء نون والسكون after it's seen. أنا خلقناه، أن نون شدة، خلقناه and the قاف قلقلة because of the سكون. من نطق تو نون، من نطق أن النطاء والسكون قلقلة. من نطق، من نطفة بدني after that you have فاء so إخفاء. من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم، تنوين after it ميم إضغام، خصيم مبين. وضرب لنا مثلا، مثلا تنوين after it واو. ونسي خلقه. قال من، إضغام، من يحيي العظام وهي رميم. قل يحييها الذي مد for the 5 counts أنشأها إخفاء أول مرة. make sure that the ra is heavy and the meme is light. أول مرة. وهو بكل خلق عليم، إظهار، وهو بكل خلق عليم. in I continued. طيب, but anyway, so we stopped at 80. The translation, let's take the first ayah first inshallah. أولم يرى الإنسان أن خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين, which means does not man see that we have created him from nutfa, yet behold he stands forth as an open opponent. These verses to the end of the surah talks or answering those who deny the day of resurrection in the most perfect way, of course. And this is just one portion of the Quran, few verses, and it's throughout the Quran answering the doubt of those who disbelieve in the day of resurrection with reason and with the fact that they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here this ayah, أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِن نُطْفَةٍ فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. I mean, doesn't the human being, أولم questioning the human being, those who deny the day of resurrection, أن خلقناه, that we created him, من نطفة. النطفة is the mixed male and female discharge. فإذا هو خصيم مبين, and then all of a sudden he is خصيم مبين. All of a sudden that he become a stand forth opponent, open opponent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the clear evidences, and that is, look at how initially the human beings is created. So ابتداء الخلق, the initial creation in itself, is a miraculous thing for people to see and to witness. And it's something that is happening every second. How many people are being created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانِ, and human beings are, even though they're seeing this, but they're not seeing it with their hearts, because their hearts have been sealed, and their hearing have been also sealed, and their vision has been sealed. So if that is sealed, they're not able to see. They're not able to see, and that's why, as it clearly stated in the verses, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he seals the heart of the evil ones because of their evil actions. So أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانِ, all of the human beings, don't they see that we created them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them from نطفة, this dirty drop. فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ, all of a sudden that he is khasim, that he is someone that disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and dispute the matter. That's what's so amazing, how ignorant the human beings can be. The verse was revealed for Ubay ibn Khalaf and the like of him, from the chiefs of Quraysh, when he took a piece of bone of a human being in his hand, and he flicked it with his hands like this, and it became dust, and he threw it in the air, and he said, "O Muhammad, you claim that that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect this?" So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "Na'am, yes, يميتك الله تعالى ثم يبعثك ثم يحشرك إلى النار." He said, yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you die, then he will resurrect you, then he will gather you and throw you into the hellfire. And he died in the state of disbelief. So the ayat were revealed. And it was said that whether it's Ubay ibn Khalaf or Al-As ibn Wa'il, the same thing, he did the same thing from the chiefs of Quraysh. And it's the same argument that human beings or the evil ones among them would claim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he created the human beings and created in them the ability to think and to draw conclusions and to see clear evidences of something that is given the signs of it. So here the question, and of course when each verse requires lots of reflection over this. So how a nutfa, which is something, a drop, that the human being and the complexity of the human being is created, and then this human being becomes someone that disputes. Where did he get that one? Where did he get that characteristics or that way when he was created from just a drop? So this is the first evidence that are mentioned there. And they're basically disbelieving in the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's what caused them to be like this, and heedlessness and ignorance. Then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. That he puts forth for us a parable and forgets his own creation. He says, who will give life to these bones when they have rotted away and became dust? And this is what, again, refuting what he said, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ. He gave to us a method or an example or a parable when they looked at the dust or the bones and how that it become dust. وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ, and he forgot his creation. He forgot where he was created from. Which is easier, to be resurrected or to be initially created from nothing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human beings from nothing. So nothing is much more amazing thing when someone is created from nothing. وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ, he created his creation. And he forgot his creation, and he forgot also how weak his creation is, and how weak are the human beings when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them from one stage to the other. Then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم, which means, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he will give life to them who created them for the first time, and he is the all-knower of every creation. So this is another clear answer that when they said, how can that be resurrected? How can that happen? He said, يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة. يحييها, he will give life to it, the one that أنشأها, the one that initiated it in the first place. Right? And that is just by imaging this, a person would have certainty without any doubt that the one, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because people did not create themselves. أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون. Are they created from nothing, or are they the creators? So nothing does not create. So there's a creator. So the creator, just the fact that the creator created the human beings from nothing, then he is able to resurrect him, to recreate him a second time. And that's easier as long as the power is concerned, right? It's easier if from a human being even perspective, when you look at the power of creating something from nothing, then it's easier to resurrect, to recreate the human being. And another evidence after that, وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ خَلْقٍ عَلِيمٍ, and he subhanahu wa ta'ala with every khalq, with every creation, alim, he's the all-knower. He knows everything, and his knowledge encompasses everything. So he knows what the earth consumes from the bodies of the dead, and what stays. He knows the unseen and the seen. So if the slave of Allah, the human beings, acknowledge this vast knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he knows that which is much greater, to believe that he is the one that would create them after they die, and he's the one that created them to die, and he's the one that imposed death upon them. Death by itself is a miraculous thing. The initial life is an amazing thing, created us from nothing. And the fact that we die as human beings, this is another thing that many people don't even reflect upon this, which is a sign of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that nobody can oppose that. And who's the one that makes us die? We do not, people might kill themselves, right? But who's the one that takes their soul from their body? It is not the human being, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's the one that would resurrect and recreate everyone. And then the next ayah, الذي جعلكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. The one that produces for you fire out of the green tree, when behold you kindle therewith. Which means another evidence with regards to the opposites, or to the amazing power of Allah. Now it talks about the power of Allah. When they question the power of Allah, that he would resurrect them after they die, look at the power of Allah in the initial creation that is happening all the time, and look at the power of Allah from something very simple that they see and they use every day, that he subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that made for you, الذي جعل لكم, for you as the human being, من الشجر الأخضر نار, from the green trees, fire. How that the tree is created from what? A seed or so, and it's irrigated with water, and it grows day after day till it becomes green and looks pleasant and has fruits, right? And then that green leaves, or this wood or so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes from it fire, and it's used to make fire. And this is an amazing power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can something look so pleasant, and the original creation of it is from something that distinguishes the fire, like the water, and he makes from it fire. فَإِذَا أَنْتُم مِّنْهُ تُوقِدُونَ, and he created that for you. And it's the more you reflect upon this, the more it leaves us in such a state of not even able to comprehend the vast power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. that how the fire, we are in need of it in our life. And that's by the power of Allah that He created that in this life, and He created it for us to remember the fire in the hereafter. But also, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, that أفرأيتم النار التي تورون, Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Do you see the fire that you kindle? أنتم أنشأتم شجرتها أم نحن المنشئون? Did you, the one initiated the trees, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created the trees and the fire and the wood and everything that you would use to initiate fire and to use the fire. In every single thing that you have to manufacture, you find fire is a component in there, and food and everything else. And it's amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the fire like that for us. You don't have to go get the fire from the jungle of fire, or everybody has to have a portion of his house that is on fire to take part of that fire to cook food. Life becomes very difficult, but you live in a comfortable house or apartment, and everything is pleasant, and there's nothing whatsoever. And all of a sudden, with a simple strike, or even with gas and everything like this, you use the fire, and it's there, and it's in itself is destruction, but you use it and you contain it in such a way that you would cook food, that you would do things with it, and it's all by the amazing creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا, and how people in the desert, they light the fire without the need of any sophistications, by striking something to dry things. And this is how they used to, or they do it if they are in the jungle or the desert. And the way that they initiate the fire is amazing. They did not have to have anything like what we see nowadays to initiate the fire. This is all from whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. They make the fire without the need of any thing else. And this is all by the power of Allah. So this is a third evidence, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it. And it will be continued afterwards, inshallah ta'ala, with more of the evidences towards the end of the surah. So when we look at the words of the surah, أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانِ. So this is the question, أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانِ, the human being, from Nun Sin Ya, أَنَّا, that we created him, خَلَقْنَاهُ, we, Nun Alif, and the ha refers to the human beings, and خَلَقَ, min نُطْفَةٍ, a nutfa from Nun Ta Fa. And this is again the seminal fluid, and it's the pearls are also given the same name, nutf, and it's also when something is a liquid, they call it a natif or something like this. So a nutfa is drop, and this is where the human beings are created from. فإذا هو, إذا here is refers to time, then behold, فإذا هو, meaning the human beings, خصيم, خصيم from صاد mim, opponent, someone in disputing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, disputing with the believers about the resurrection, and arguing, which is, again, it's nothing but ignorance. Someone just to argue is a sign of ignorance of the human beings. They're not using, opposite to what they claim, they're not using what Allah created in them, which is the basic reason. Khasimun mubin, clear, from ba ya nun. وضرب لنا, and daraba sets forth from hitting, and when you have two things strikes, so that's what the examples, like you strike an example, that means you make it very as if it's stable, or you can use it in a consistent way. وضرب لنا, for us, مثلا, an example, a parable, which what they did with the bones and everything. ونسي, and he forgets, from Nun Sin Ya, خلقه, his own creation, his creation from خلقه. قال من, he said, قال من يحيي, give life, from حاء ياء ياء, العظام, from عين ضاء ميم, وهي رميم, while they are رميم. رميم, decomposed, became dust, from ra mim mim. And when something is ramim, that means it's very, when something is very old, that is not, you're not able to fix it anymore. And also when they say tarmim, we use that even in the normal language when you have a building that needs to be renovated. When you renovate a building, you say tarmimul mabna or rammamtu. That means I'm resurrecting it, or I'm fixing it, right? So, and it comes from the things that are very old, or it's things like that. So how ramim? This is what ramim means: decomposed. قل يحييها, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يحييها, he will give life, from ha ya ya, الذي, the one, أنشأها, from nun shin alif, produced them. And then nash'a is the initial creation, and nashi'a also is the like in the nashi'at al-layl, the beginning time or the middle of the night, which is requires struggle. And nash is the youth, is a word used for the youth because of their strength and young. الذي أنشأها أول مرة, the first time, مرة is the first time, from mim ra ra. وهو بكل, and he is with every خلق, with every creation, عليم, subhanahu wa ta'ala, from al-ilm. الذي, the one, جعل, made, لكم, for you, من الشجر, from الشجر, the same three letters, the tree, الأخضر, green, نارا, fire, فإذا أنتم, and here you are, فإذا أنتم منه, from it, توقدون, from واو قاف دال, ignite or so. This is as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the hellfire, وقودها الناس والحجارة, its fuel is men and stones. The ayat, wallah, again, it's what requires for the people to reflect upon it, right? So and the fawaid and the evidence of it are so many, as we see. So this is calling the human beings that is upon wrongdoing to his own self, when he does not use his mind, his reason, and to ignorantly follow their desires, to oppose the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it shows that one of the great benefits also that we learn, as the ulama they mention, is that anyone that disputes with the revelation from Allah, he's disputing with Allah. فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. The wahy, the revelation from Allah, is not to be disputed. And that's why for us, even for the simple details of the wahy, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us to do something, or in the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, this is revelation from Allah, right? And if someone is trying to oppose this, trying to refute that, right, he's in dispute with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who can sustain such a dispute? So the wahy requires for the people to submit themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also in itself, again, because of the time though, but when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ, خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ in itself is a miraculous evidence for the resurrection. How is that? That when the ayah says that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created the human beings from what? From nutfa, from this simple drop. And how that the human being becomes someone that can clearly dispute. So the fact that he disputes is a miraculous thing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them have the ability to think whether it's on the right way or on the wrong way, and to dispute. That by itself is an amazing, miraculous thing, that the one that is in dispute should even witness the fact that he is able to dispute. When other creation of Allah, they don't have the ability to do so. That means he's able to speak, and he's able to refute or to establish reason and things like this. And he is mubin, he's able to express what he sees or what he thinks. Right? So and this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned them, and in itself is an evidence against them. And it's all about arrogance, and it's not about the truth. And the ayah وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه, analogy and evidence based on what's even more likely to happen, as you know, because the resurrection is much easier than the initial creation. So this is something that you can use in many different benefits like this. And with the rest of the evidences, of course, and when they claimed that they would not be resurrected, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also addressing those who associate partners with Allah, and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنْشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Very easy and straightforward. The one that created in the first place, he's the one that would resurrect it. And the many evidences, other evidences in the issue of the trees, also powerful. The power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that shows how from something opposite or something very simple, something very destructive can be created, like the fire. And you as human beings, you see that in a constant way. And more, of course, if we reflect upon every single word of it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the proper understanding, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, and we continue inshallah ta'ala tomorrow. Wa sallallahu sallam baraka ala Muhammad wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.